What's up, everybody? Hey, listen, I don't own the rights to this music, but we finna get started. Hey, do you want a revolution? Hey, y'all know nothing about that. That's that old school. Do you want a revolution? Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, the one, the only, Dr. Carla. Listen, come on in the room. It's about to go down. Come on, come on, come on, come on in. Yes. Y'all know how we do. Hey. What? Woo! Listen, I'm trying to give y'all time to like and share this video. Listen, pick up the phone and let somebody know that Dr. Carla is on. The way I live my life. Hey. Woo! Listen, welcome everybody to Deeper on Dr. Carla TV Network. Listen, I'm so excited tonight. You are absolutely in for a treat. Yes. Do you want a revolution? All right, y'all. All right. Listen, I need y'all to do me a favor. I need y'all right now to go subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's right, subscribe. Now, some of y'all was disobedient last week. I told y'all to subscribe. Y'all tripping. But do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe so you can stay in touch and get the alerts that when we go live, in case we do a pop-up, you will know that we are on for sure. So listen, those of you who are new to Deeper, what you can expect is real people, deep topics, and transparent experiences. It's going to be always absolutely amazing. Listen on tonight. You are in for a treat. Our topic on tonight is called Finding Beauty in the Mud. That's right. Finding beauty in the mud. Oh my God, tonight, I don't think y'all ready. I don't think y'all ready. Listen. Come on. I need y'all to fasten y'all seatbelts and get ready. Open your hearts and your minds because you're going to hear amazing testimony about finding beauty in the mud. I have a special guest on tonight. And before we bring her on, I just want to tell you a little bit about her. But she's going to come in and talk about herself as well. But listen, my guest on tonight, she is a pastor, okay? She is a prophet. Y'all ain't saying that. She is a teacher. Oh, yes, she is. Listen, she is a powerful woman of God, a great gift to the body. So listen, without further ado, I want you to put your hands together all the way from Cincinnati, Ohio, Pastor Michelle Henderson. What's up, woman of God?
Yes, what's up? I am so excited. Oh my goodness, I'm excited to be on Deeper.
Yes, Deeper. Listen. Real quick, all of you that are new to Deeper, if y'all want us to go a little deeper, I want y'all to put in the comments, go deeper, Doc, okay? Go deeper, Doc. Listen, Pastor Michelle, I just want to publicly thank you for coming on the show and being willing to come on and tell your story. I know it's going to be absolutely amazing. I know that somebody's life is going to be touched, changed, and transformed and encouraged through your story or what you're going to share on tonight. Listen, I can hardly wait because, listen, they ain't ready. They ain't even ready. But listen, what we're going to discuss on tonight, we're going to have the real conversation, the deep conversation that need to happen. And so often, the church don't deal with a lot of things that we're going to talk about on tonight that I think is very important that we have these conversations because we need to be real and transparent because so often people go through in silence. They go through in silence and they struggle and they have pitfalls. But if they would hear conversations like we're going to have on tonight, I believe that they will get through their situation a whole lot better. Yes. So at this time, before we get into the conversation, Pastor Michelle, just go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
So I am Pastor Michelle from Cincinnati, Ohio. Originally Dayton, Ohio, born and raised. I am married to the amazing Bishop Cornelius Henderson Sr. I am so excited. We've been together 28 years. We've been married 23 on June the 6th. We have 4 amazing children, 2 grandchildren. We in this. We've been pastoring 10 years, and I can't wait to go more and more and more of who I am and who God saw fit to see 2021, where I shouldn't have seen it, but God saw fit for me to be here. So I am honored, Dr. Carla, to be on the show.
Wow. That's awesome. And I love the way you honored your husband. Yes, we don't want to forget about the man of God, Bishop Henderson. Thank you for letting your precious wife come on tonight. I honor you, man of God. Listen, this is going to be so good. Oh my God, this is going to be so good. I get excited because I love when we can really tell our story in a safe environment. And listen, transparency is where it is. That's just where it's at. Yep. So we're getting ready to get right into the conversation. So we're going to go ahead and allow Pastor Michelle to go ahead and begin to share her testimony, all from where it started from. And just listen, Pastor Michelle, I want you to just feel free. Just lay it all out there for the people. Lay it all out there. We gonna really talk about that thing, the good, the bad, the ugly. Listen, and we gonna give God all the glory. So just go ahead and start from the beginning and bring us up to where you are today. And as we flow, we're going to begin to ask different questions. And listen, if you all want us to go deeper, again, put in the comments, go deeper, Doc. And if you have a particular question, you can put in the comments. Now, we'll try to read them and get to them, but I ain't making no promises. If I can see it and catch it, I'll try to ask it, okay? All right, so go ahead. I'm turning it over to you, Pastor Michelle. Go ahead and share your story.
Okay, so was born with a family, mom and dad, of course. They were married. My parents were married. I have three older sisters, and we were born with what they call a silver spoon in your mouth. Wow. Until all hell broke out in my family. My parents separated. My dad became an alcoholic, where he would be abusive. He would be violent, and he would argue all the time with my mom. And as a little girl, I would hear this, being the youngest of my family. And when I would hear it, I would just close my ears and close my eyes and try to wish it away, and it wasn't ever going away. And when I turned 6, my father kicked my mom out. And I never knew that. All I knew as a 6-year-old girl was mommy was leaving. And she was packing her stuff up, and she was cussing and crying, and the police was there, and all of the neighbors were out watching, and I didn't have my mom anymore. So as I began to grow up, the Bible says a house divided can't stand against itself. That's right. That literally happened. I watched my home go from being born with a silver spoon in my mouth to living with roaches so bad to where they were in our refrigerator, they were in the microwave. We had them, they were so infested to one of the rooms in our house, it caved in the roof. And so I lived with that. My oldest sister got on crack cocaine, and she would do it in the house. My sister next to her ended up with a guy that was much older, who was verbally, physically, emotionally, all kind of abuse that was up the street. My sister next to me, who's 5 years older, she got into the street life. And so here I was, this 6-year-old kid with a dad that was an alcoholic. And then molestation came into play. There was a neighborhood guy. By the time I was about 8, he was like 12, 13. He would take me in his garage, and we would play what they call house. And he was the dad, I was the mom. And one day he put his hand over my mouth, put his hand up my dress into my private area, and began to touch me and molest me. This happened to me for about a year or so. I never told anybody. I never told my dad because I just didn't know how he would respond. I was scared to tell my sisters. So I got older, ended up messing with a guy at the age of 14 who was verbally abusive. And not at first, it was all cool, calm and collect, but I lost my virginity to this guy. Then I met my husband, who he is now, and didn't know what love looked like. And he would love me, but he didn't have all the fancy, the car and the herringbone. He was like this little ruddy guy. And I'm looking at him like, I'm cool on you. I just came out of a relationship with this guy that I gave my everything to. And going through all the trauma that I went through in my life as a child, and then to get abused by your first boyfriend, and then this other guy come, and I'm looking at you like, absolutely not. But he was the epitome of love, and I didn't know what love was. Nobody ever taught me what this love thing looked like. And so when he came, all I thought love was material things, because that's what I seen. My sister sold drugs, so I would get the material things, but I never got what true love looked like in a family. And I still hadn't seen my mom. My mom didn't know where I was at as a teenager. My dad wouldn't allow her to come to the house. She would try to sneak and cook us food or bring food or keep us clean. But if he would find out, he would call the police on her. So I didn't have that mother. Even when I turned 14, coming on my menstrual cycle, my sister was doing drugs in the bathroom. Our plumbing was jacked up, sis, to where we couldn't take showers and baths. We would have to use the bathroom in the toilet, take a bucket, pull it out and dump it over in the yard next to us. I'm talking about we were living to where children's service should have came and got me. And by the grace of God that I was never in the system. But after even starting my menstrual cycle, my sister was doing drugs in the bathroom, and she's like, put a sock on. So guess what I did? I put a sock on. I didn't know any better. And so that's how I lived for a little bit until I learned about, cycles in health class in middle school and high school, and just having that safe place in my friend's house when my father would kick me out. My father would put me out when I was like 10, 11 years old. He would get drunk and he would get mad and he would tell me to get out. I don't know if I was reminding him of my mom or what, but I would walk the streets of my neighborhood just to find somewhere to have shelter, to get me something to eat. But then I met Cornelius, and I just did not try to fool with him. And I would go back and forth from the first guy to him, back and forth. I could not get it together. But as I grew up as an adult, and I don't know if you want me to go on in that flow in that part, but going into the church world, I was looking for a perfect place. I didn't know that the church world was messy at the time. I didn't have a clue of this. All I knew is that my boyfriend, Cornelius, was introducing me to Christ. And he's like, you got to go to church with me. And I'm like, I don't do church. I know about this guy, but I don't do church. And we went to one church. I was about 16 at the time. And I walked in, sis, and I walked back out. And I'm like, I ain't going in there. And the Bible said the children of dark are wiser than the children of light. And I was in a dark place. And when I walked in, it wasn't for me, that place. Then we went to another church, and I didn't go in. I told him, I said, not this time. And he never forced me. And I was driving up Salem Avenue in Dayton, and I heard a voice, and it said, go back. And I'm like, I'm tripping. I heard it again. Turn around and go back. And I was like, now somebody talking to me, and I'm the only person in this car. I heard it a third time. And I know it was the Lord's voice. I didn't know then, but I know now. And he said, turn around and go back. And I went back. I gave my life to Christ that day. I was filled with the Holy Ghost that day, and I joined that ministry and was there for 15 years. And we left to go pastor.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. That was deep. That was a lot. Wow. That was already amazing. So I just kind of want to backtrack. So we already just heard your story. You started off with a silver spoon in your mouth, then transitioned into poverty, went through different things with being molested and then being abused, losing your virginity at the age of 14, I believe you said.
Absolutely.
And then just having all these experiences. Then now you met your current husband, get introduced to Christ. Okay. And of course, we know there's a lot of different things that happen in between all of that. But I want to back up a little bit and deal with, okay, so Wow. So I didn't know this part of your story, that your mother left. Now that's deep. And so you had to function with being raised by your father as a female. And you know what's interesting about your story is so often we hear about the father leaving and the mother being a single parent raising her sons or the daughters. But now you had to try to learn how to be a woman without a mother figure. And you talked about being on your menstrual cycle, nobody there to guide you. Wow, that's something. So let me ask you this. So when you experienced playing house and was molested for the first time, let's talk about that a little bit. How did you deal with that experience? Like, you know, what were your feelings like? How did you cope with that?
So I never coped with it. I just let it happen. I thought that's what mom and dad kind of sort of was supposed to do. But then I thought, no, mom and dad is not supposed to do this. One, because my parents went to bed after us and they woke up before us. So I never seen my parents in the bed together. I never seen my parents kiss. My parents never kissed us to say bye, I love you, nothing. So we never received that. So when this guy came in, I wanted the mommy daddy feeling, but I didn't know what the mommy daddy feeling was supposed to be. So he pretty much sowed the seed of what I thought that a mom and dad was supposed to do. And he would take me in his garage every time.
Wow. Now that's good. And I'm glad you brought up that point, because a lot of times as adolescents, we don't see what a healthy relationship should be. We see dysfunction. And so we embrace that and we take that on and we begin to duplicate as children what we see and start operating in that. So I think that was a very good point that you brought out. And so here, because you wasn't shown the love and affection, here this guy come giving you something that you were longing for, but you still didn't really know what it's supposed to look like in a healthy way. So you talked about being molested, and now here's your first boyfriend, you lose your virginity. So do you believe the molestation opened you up to a life of promiscuity, being promiscuous?
I believe the molestation, so it absolutely sowed the seed. But when I first figured out what was going on with me, I went the opposite way. So I started dressing like a boy. I became a tomboy because I didn't want nobody to ever touch me like that again.
Wow.
So I hung around my friends who were not virgins, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to feel that because it felt yucky. It felt disgusting. And I'm like, if this is what it's supposed to be, I don't want it. And so my sister was very influential, the one that was next to me in my life. And I played basketball. And she would say, all you do is carry that basketball around. You're going to be a lesbian. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be that. I want to be a woman, but I don't want nobody touching me like that. So it took a while when I started dating this guy to even allow him to come in my life like that.
Okay, stop right there. You know what you just said was so powerful, because even in your mind consciously, after being molested, you immediately start trying to be a tomboy with the thought process in mind was this would keep boys away from me. You know what I'm saying? As a defense mechanism. But without even realizing, like somebody came and said, okay, you're going to be a lesbian, because they start seeing the tomboys. And it makes sense, because if you hear a lot of stories about people who ended up becoming a lesbian, their stories are kind of similar. They ended up being molested first, and it opened a door to that and made them run the other way. And by you just stating that kind of helped me see how, that door can open without you even planning for it to even go that way. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But you caught it when she spoke that, you know what I'm saying? Be like, and say, okay, no, in your mind, no, that's not what I'm trying to do. And you immediately put a stop to it. Yes. And what's so powerful is, and I tell people all the time, sometimes we also have to be careful of the power of words when people just releasing that stuff. But see, you wasn't spiritual at that time to understand that she was releasing something over you, but prophetically you said no. You reject. Oh, that thing deep. Ooh, y'all should have been saying that's deep, Doc, in the comments. But prophetically, without you even knowing it, you rejected that spirit.
Yes.
You see that? But see, what if when she spoke it in your ear and you would have meditated on that and accepted that could have very well shifted your life in another way.
Right.
Okay, this thing right here getting good. All right. So all right, okay. So now, okay, tell us. Now you said now when you got with your boyfriend at 14, you started being abused by him. Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, so coming into the relationship, it was all fine. It was I thought that it was love. I thought I was being loved on. It was more of, are you okay with this? Is this okay? If kiss on the forehead, is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, nobody ever asked me, was it okay? It was just done. And so kiss on the cheek. Yeah, that's cool. Then I start feeling little butterflies. And then it was, now let's meet over my cousin's house and go in the room. Okay, cool. We just conversing. We would do that. And it kept going on throughout a summer. And then I let down my guard. I actually at 14 went and put myself on birth control because I didn't want to have children early because my older sister had a baby as a teenager. I didn't want to do that. So my sisters were really amazing examples, even in their mistakes in front of me, because I didn't want to do a lot of the things that I seen them go through. And so with him, allowing him and letting that guard down, I put myself on birth control. And I was like, okay, after so many days that this worked, now let's try this. And he came gentle. He came like caring. And then boom, it was like I had a Dr. Jekyll, then it went to a Mr. Hyde. And I moved in with him and his family. And
wait a minute. What they say, like Kevin Hart, you need to just speed past that part. Wait a minute. So at 14, you moved in with your boyfriend?
At 14, I had no parental guidance. I had none of that.
So what did your daddy say when you like, I'm moving out to move in with my boyfriend?
I did what I wanted to do. I was an adult at a very early age. I lived like a grown woman. Wow. So my father, because he drunk, my father was a functioning alcoholic, if you please. Gotcha. He worked every day, but he drank every day. So there were times my dad can be passed out and he wouldn't know if I was in the house or not.
Wow.
So yes, to move in with someone else, that was nothing.
Wow, that's something. Yeah, wow. So how was that like with your boyfriend's parents? They were just like,
his mom was a single mom. And it was more of if you're going to do it, you're going to do it here in the house.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was living there like a grown woman. We would live, in his bedroom, and he would put a butter knife in the door so nobody could come in and would sex me up however way he wanted to. He could be drunk. He could be high. Whatever he wanted to do to me, that's what was done.
Wow. Okay. So how did you get out of that?
So how I got out of that was I started going to a dance group that was at Roosevelt called the Fantasy Flyers. I was in it earlier and probably about 5, 6. My mom didn't allow me to be in any longer because I had did a front flip and chipped my tooth. And she's like, I'm not going to be paying dental bills. So I went back to the group when I was about 16. And my husband now was actually in that group. And the day that I went, he wasn't there. The next day I came in, he wasn't there, and he walked in. It was an auditorium. And when he walked in, I'm looking like, oh, look at those muscles. And he's looking at me like, look at the body. You know what I mean? So, but I'm playing hard because you got to remember, I'm in this relationship with this guy, and I'm really like, I'm not on it. This is the second guy, the third guy, let me say third, that have abused me. My father, the guy up the street, and then this first boyfriend. So now here comes this fourth guy, and I'm like, cool. And he started talking, and he's like, and we went on a bus ride. I never rode an RTA bus. The public.
Wait a minute. This finna get good. Now, this is a side note. I just started laughing in my mind because I'm trying to picture Bishop Henderson dancing. Wait a minute. He know how to dance. Was it like hip hop? Like,
We was the truth. It was every kind of dance you can think of. And we were good.
I was trying to picture him. He can dance. Oh my God. Y'all got some tapes. I need to see this in action. Okay, let's get back focused. I'm sorry. I was trying to picture him in my head live. I can't picture Bishop. Okay, go ahead.
So he and I begin to converse with one another and just kind of play around and dance together on slow dances, because we did like lifts and all those good things. And he took me on a bus ride. I went on the bus. I told the guy I need to be picked up, and we went on the bus, and that was like the best time of my life. And I'm like, I'm with this guy. He don't have none of the material things. All he have is himself. And I was like, wow. So I tell my sister, and she's like, you ain't messing with no dude on no bus. He ain't got no bus. And I'm like, but I like him. And she's like, no, you're going to mess with somebody that have something. And so what did I do? I went back to the first boyfriend because my sister's words were valid. And so I went back, and I kept going back and forth. And, you know, the story is told. We've been married 23 years together. Wow. Okay, so he won.
Wait a minute, say that one more time for the people in the back. How many years?
We've been together 28, and we've been married to be 23 on June the 6th.
Wow, that is amazing. I love to hear about long-term marriages, because people are not staying married long anymore, and people don't understand that marriage is ministry, honey, and you got to sacrifice and you got to weather the storm. So I love to hear that. Okay, this thing is getting good. So go ahead and tell us, because we're going to go to intermission in a minute, but go ahead and tell us now, when you first met your husband, he was already saved?
He was not.
He was not saved. Okay. Because y'all was in the dance group, right? Okay. So how long were y'all together before y'all got saved?
We were together maybe about a year and a half. And he was saved through his, he went on a gospel concert. He was in a gospel concert choir, in his school at Colonel White High School. And they went to Chicago. And his whole motive was, I'm going to get whatever girl I can get. But he ain't know Jesus was waiting on him when he got there. And they did the concert, I think. And he said he just felt himself get up and go to the altar and gave his life to Christ. The night he gave his life to Christ is the exact same night I was in a very bad car accident. I had went to Spunky's, a nightclub in Dayton, and I was in a.
Wait a minute, I remember Spunky's, baby. Wait a minute, for all y'all don't know, Dr. Carla from Dayton, Ohio, too. Where she from? Spunky's, baby. They ain't ready. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I got in a really bad car accident the exact same night, and he couldn't get in touch with me, so we talked the next day, and he's like, Michelle, I'm saved now. And I'm like, you what? And he's like, I'm saved. And I was like, what do that mean? Because I didn't know what that meant. He's like, Jesus, like, I love Jesus, and we can't kiss and we can't do this. And I'm like, what? What happened? Like, who is Jesus? Like, tell me more about, and he ended up introducing me to Christ, and I got saved. And maybe a year and a half, 2 years later, we got married.
So you was the first soul he won after receiving Christ. Ain't that something?
I was one. Yes.
Wow. That's awesome. Listen, y'all, we getting ready to break for intermission, but listen, don't y'all go nowhere. This thing is getting good. We getting deep with Pastor Michelle Henderson. Y'all still ain't heard nothing yet. She got so much more to tell. But listen, y'all got an opportunity right now to still tag somebody and tell them, listen, Dr. Carla is on. So listen, we'll be right back after these messages.
Dr. Carla Chaney-Rhodes is a profound and prolific prophet, preacher, teacher, author, and entrepreneur. On her new talk show, you can expect real people, deep topics, transparent experiences, as she provokes us to go deeper. You can follow Dr. Carla on all social media outlets at Dr. Carla Chaney-Rhodes. And while you're there, don't forget to purchase one of her manuscripts, Healing from Church Hurts. It was good for me that I have been afflicted, and stop beating the dumbass. So tune in to Dr. Carla TV.
What's up, everybody? And we're back to Deeper on Dr. Carla TV. Listen, the commercial you just saw was the Recovery Room Conference coming up on 9/11. That's right, 9/11. Save the date. Put that on your calendar. As a matter of fact, registration is now open. You can go to my website right now at www.carlachaneyrhodes.com and register now for the Healing from Church Conference. You want to make sure that you take advantage of my early bird discount special. All right, because when it closes out, you're going to have to pay full price. And listen, you don't want to miss this conference. It's going to be absolutely amazing. All right, so we're getting ready to get back into the conversation. Listen, for those of you who are just tuning in, we've been talking with Pastor Michelle Henderson about finding beauty in the mud. So we have heard the first half of her story. So we get ready to go deeper, y'all, into the second half of her story. Listen, I see some of you putting in the comments, love you, Dr. Carter. Listen, Maria Burr, I see you. I love you too. I love each and every one of you. Listen, this thing finna get good. So we finna dive right back in. And so, Pastor Michelle, I want you to go ahead and begin to share with the people your story on your encounter that you had and how you entered into after, receiving Christ, getting married to your amazing husband, but you end up entering into a lifestyle of adultery. So I want you to talk about that and what happened after that. Go ahead and share with the people.
Okay, so about 8 years ago, 8 years. It's been 10 years we've been pastoring. So 8 years ago, like I said before, we've been married 23, right? So that means I went out. I committed adultery. It was not my husband. He did not sow the first seed. That has been put on the man for years, that the man is always the one. Well, in this case, the woman. Because
Say that again. Say that again.
Always been put on the man. The pastor, the male pastor, that is him. But women, we do it as well. Wives, pastors' wives, whatever you call yourself. We have issues as well. And I had a serious issue. I had never dealt with the issues that was happened to me in my past. Even in being married to him. After 10 years, Dr. Collar, that was the first time I told my husband that I was molested. He didn't even know. 10 years in my marriage.
So let me say this real quick before you go deep. So I want to make this clear to the people, praise God, that now at this point, we talked about how she met her amazing husband, how they got married. He led her to Christ. But now they have actually started walking into pastoralship. So when she began to have this encounter, Pastor Michelle, you were a pastor.
Right.
When you begin to do this.
Before I was a pastor. I was cheating while I was an assistant pastor's wife. I was cheating while I was in the church. Yep. I played all the games. I did. And I was cheating. I cheated on my husband with this guy on and off for 8 years. On and off. 8 years. So when I had the encounter, I went to a skating ring 8 years ago. I was here in Cincinnati, still pastor, and I snuck back into the skating ring world because I love to skate. And my purpose was not to go there to skate. My purpose was to go there and see the guy that I had cheated with in Dayton. Be in the skating ring for about 30, 45 minutes or so, thinking I was extra cute. Fell face first. When I say face, I went flat on the wood. My bottom lip, my two front teeth went through my bottom lip. My head was underneath my mouth. I didn't even know I fell, Dr. Carla. My two front teeth was sitting in my hand. When I raised my head up, blood just gushed everywhere. I jumped out in shock, ran to the bathroom. My eyes were black. Like my face didn't look nothing like this. I went to the hospital, called my mother, who lived in Miamisburg, Ohio at the time. She came to the hospital. And
so wait a minute. I don't mean to interrupt you. So nobody in the skating ring try to help you?
And one person, one young lady went to the bathroom with me. The guy that I was cheating with didn't even try to check on me.
Oh my God.
No. So I went to the hospital, walked in. My mom gets there. The doctors is like freaking out. They thinking I don't got beat by somebody. And I'm telling them it's a skate accident. I sent a selfie to my husband who was in Cincinnati, had just preached because it was on a Resurrection Sunday. A man that was trying to preach a church out, and he called me. He said, "What happened to you?" And I said, "I snuck skating." He said, "You got yourself in this mess. Now get yourself out." And he hung up.
Woo.
I needed him to do that to me. I went to my mom's after they stitched my lip. I had 19 stitches inside and out so they could stitch my lip back on. My teeth, they couldn't do anything about. My black eyes just had to come back. You know, my eyes had to get back too. I went through dental issues for about 6 months. When I got back home the next day, scared for my life to go home. I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? My kids got to, see this. Set all my family down in the living room, and I told them what I did. My husband, of course, he was upset. He was hurt. My children, it was a mess. When I say, like, my son, who's very quiet, he's 22 now, but at that time he was still in middle school. He was just looking like, what in the world is wrong with your face? My baby girl, she was kicking the wall. She had kicked a hole in the wall. She was my oldest daughter. After telling them, my husband walked out. He left out the house to drive around. I went in the bedroom, and I just was like, God, I want to die. Like, I have destroyed my family. I have destroyed everything I have. And my oldest daughter came in the room, and she laid next to me, Dr. Carter. She turned me over, and I know God spoke through her. And she looked at me, and she said, "Mom, I don't care what you look like. You are the most beautiful person I know. I don't care who walk out on us. I'll never walk out on you." My daughter got me up out the bed, took my stuff off, put me in the shower, because you got to remember, I had blood off. She put me in the shower, made sure I ate whatever I needed. I know God spoke to my daughter in that, because I was done. When I say I was like, I have caused so much trauma to my children and my husband, because I was a young lady that did not know her worth. I didn't know the worth of my family, my husband, God, nothing. I thought I could keep playing church. I thought I could keep playing God, but God sent himself in the form of a wind. Oh, hallelujah. Sent himself to knock me off my high horse, to knock me off of pride, to knock adultery out of me. And he did whatever he had to do. But one thing he didn't do, oh God, I thank you. He didn't take my life. And so I don't know if you want to stop me there if I keep going.
Yeah, let me stop. Girl, listen. Jesus. Wait, we got to start right there, because I feel God. Listen, my God, today. Listen, God got a way of giving us the Damascus Road experience. You hear me? Woo! But I want to ask you this, Pastor Michelle, because I believe this is going to help somebody. So I know you say you were playing church, because you say you had a relationship with this guy for 8 years, and you all were pastoring. So walk us through that, because so many people, majority men, now there are some women that have got caught in this. And again, for the people that's watching, you were in pastoralship. How, like, for those 8 years, were there ever times that you ever went to church and was convicted throughout that 8-year process? Like, what was that like, just, being able to do that? And, and was there any signs that your husband was kind of picking up on it, or did you almost get caught? Like, how did you get away with that for 8 years? And like, were you ever convicted, like, during that time before your Damascus Road experience?
Yes. So the six of those years, we weren't pastors. We were sitting in somebody else's covering. Right? And in that covering, a lot of that was going on in that church.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I wasn't convicted. I wasn't. I'm being honest with you. I wasn't. There wasn't a true relationship with God himself for me. It was more of, let me do what the pastor tell me to do. It was the pastor's wife relationship. It wasn't a God relationship. It wasn't. So yeah, there were times my husband, the Lord would show my husband. He would have dreams about it. I've been caught doing it. And it's so much more, Pastor Carla, in the book that I haven't even revealed on here, because we ain't got enough time.
Right.
The whole story will be revealed in a series of books that's coming out through our life. But when I started pastoring, that was the 2 years that I was trying to give it up. That's when it started like convicting me. That's when I started feeling like I'm not supposed to do this. This ain't right. But it was almost like I couldn't stop. Like that spirit had covered me so to the point that I didn't want to stop at sometimes. Then I wanted to stop.
You needed a cast out. You needed deliverance. So you didn't know how to free yourself. Wow. Wow. So now that you've had your Damascus Road experience, you done fell on your face, your teeth came out, went through your lip. You had to get it sewed on, and your husband had to have tough love and tell you to get yourself out. My God. And now you getting out of hospital and got to go home and face this, your baby showing unconditional love and telling you, Mama, I got you. Wow. So with all of this, now walk us through your process, because I know it took a process for your husband to forgive you and trust you again. And not only that, you had to forgive yourself again. Come on, walk us through that process of that turning point now of how you had to just walk us through that process.
So it was more of me forgiving myself. My husband is like, I promise you, he's the epitome of love. He has a God love that I've never met anybody that has on this earth. My husband gave me. My husband trusted me right after. I mean, like literally right after. I was like, and I kept asking him, how do you trust me? How do you? He said, Michelle, I have to trust you. I can't live with unforgiveness. I can't live like that. He said, because I love God so much. And I love you so much. I have to get, it was more me forgiving myself. So going through the transformation of the 6 months of getting the work done on my mouth and my eyes and the depression and the suicidal thoughts, that's when God started ministering to me. I allowed God to minister to Michelle, to tell Michelle, love yourself. See yourself through the eyes of me and not the eyes of yourself. And that's what I began to do. I started seeing myself through the eyes of Jesus Christ. He said, my blood has been applied to your life. You have been forgiven. You're now delivered. Now go tell the people.
Come on.
What I've done for you. Now go tell. Now after I've done it for you, after I've cleansed you, after I've healed your mind, now it's time for you to go out and tell somebody who I am in your life. And so I had a serious encounter with God. It was never my husband. My husband showed me what love on earth looked like. He showed me what forgiveness on earth looked like. So it never was an issue with him. It was the issue with myself.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You know what? And that right there is like the power of love. And it took my mind back when Jesus, when they was ready to throw the rocks at the adulteress, and he said, he that is without sin cast the first stone. Immediately he said, those who are forgiven much love much. So I can just imagine that your love for your husband went to a whole nother dimension. Hey, so the way that man forgave you and loved you and showed, hey, y'all starting some mess over here. I feel I feel the Holy Ghost. My God, listen, the way, my God, that he loved you back to health, and then you had to forgive yourself. This thing is powerful, my God. But even with that, you went through a thing with low self-esteem, because after your teeth falling out and your mouth had to heal. Walk us through that process for you.
So going through that process, I began to get help. I got counseling, clinical counseling. I didn't just go to the church. I went and got clinical counseling.
Say that again.
I did. I had to get some help because I hadn't dealt with all the past stuff. And it brought me up to that day where I kept burying those things, trying to bury them alive. I was just existing, Dr. Carla. I wasn't living. And because I wasn't living with a sound mind, I wasn't living with love. I wasn't. And so through that process, I got help. I was loved on by my church. My church here in Cincinnati, Agape Love Ministries, they loved me back to life. I had never been in a church where I wasn't talked about. I had never been in and I was the pastor's wife. and they knew what I did. I got up and testified of what happened to me, and they loved me. I could not believe it. I was almost in disbelief at the love from the people. So because of all of that love, Dr. Carla, the love of God, the love of my family, and then learning to love myself, all of the healing began to happen for me, releasing all of that stuff out of my life.
So how did you know that you were finally whole? What did that look like? How did you know?
Yeah, I knew that I was finally whole when I seen the man again. I went back. I did. I can't remember. My husband went with me because I love the skating. And one day he told me a couple years later, he said, "You don't have to stop loving what you love to do. It wasn't about the skating. It was the act that you did." So we went together, and I seen the guy, and I felt nothing. When I say nothing, he never existed in my life. It was no attraction. It was no nothing. It was like, oh no, that. And I thought in my mind, and how did you even mess around with that? Why did you go to the dumps? So I knew I was free. And then when I started the Know Your Worth organization, learning the value of the woman, learning the value within, I started ministering so much to women, and I would see them, me in them. And I knew I was free because I was able to show them the way to deliverance. I was able to show them the way to healing. I was able to show. So that's how I knew that I was free from all of that. I know that I'm free. I know that I'm delivered. I know that I'm whole now because I allow God to come in and do some things inside of me. Even forgiveness with my dad, my sisters, my mom, just going back and talking to them and just talking it all out, going back into my past and digging it up and finding the beauty that was in all those muddy situations that God wanted to use today to help somebody else come out of whatever that they're in.
Wow. My God, today, this thing is powerful. This thing is amazing. I'm telling you, I'm just totally just blown away. And I love how you started off when you said, with this thing, so many people see it from the male standpoint of the man stepping out on a woman. But it's different when, now you see a woman stepped out on a man. And what I appreciate you so much about you, Pastor Michelle, is your transparency, because you all were pastoring at that time. And so often we hear so many pastors in infidelity, like all the time, you know what I'm saying? And they sweep it up under the rug. But I'm so proud of you, and I appreciate you for being honest. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to help so many people. But what I love the most about your story is that you're truly delivered.
Yes, God.
And there's a difference, because some people have been found in it and they still in it secretly. Yeah. See, the power in the story is, my God, that you're free.
Yes.
And you're free indeed. My soul. Because see, when we repent, my God, we turn. See, some people just sorry.
Yeah.
But not everybody repents. My God, today. See, y'all done stirred up the Holy Ghost. See, Pastor, you did something. See, I ain't cut up like this on no other show. My God, today I be trying to behave. My tongues done came. Listen, good God from on high. See, we got to turn. And I just want to publicly say, listen, Bishop Cornelius Henderson, listen, you the man. You hear me? I got to give you a shout out. You the man. You hear me? Because, you know what I'm saying, for you to love her through it. Not too many people can do that. Hallelujah. But it takes the strength of God, the love of God. And I believe God was already preparing him when he was showing him and letting him know, like, listen, forgive her, love her through it. And my God, today, this whole thing is a beautiful love story to me, and even Pastor Michelle, when I look at you right now, you don't look like what you've been through. You are beautiful. I don't even see no scar. Your teeth look beautiful. Your smile is beautiful. Like, if you didn't share your story, I wouldn't have a clue that you went through that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And like you said, you didn't know your worth, but I see a beautiful, powerful, mighty woman of God. And I am so blessed to know you.
Thank you.
Yes, and I know, my God, that everything you went through, that by your stripes, many women will be healed. And not only women, but men, because even the testimony of your husband,
Yes.
my God, is an example for other men, because God told the man to do what? Love your wife.
As Christ loved the church.
Like
yes.
Christ loved the
Gave
church.
his life. Yes, God.
So listen right now, Pastor Michelle, I just want you to do something real quick. I want you to minister and encourage some women out there and men out there right now who have experienced being molested, experienced the abuse, experienced growing up in poverty, experienced being in a broken home and dysfunction, experience mandarabasa, experience being caught in adultery or fornication, but you needed forgiveness. You needed forgiveness. I want you to minister to those people right now who have experienced this and they don't know how to find their beauty in the mud. But you are the example. I want you to speak to those people. And in particular, I want you to speak to those people in leadership who may have experienced that infidelity and just don't know how to put the broken pieces together.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go forth at this time.
Yeah. So for those that, I speak to those that have battled with the trauma in their life, the abuse, the molestation, the rejection, the abandonment, to any leader that is watching and you haven't dealt with the issues in your life. I want you to know that God is able to deliver you from anything that you allow him to come in and deliver you from. The reason why some of us are not delivered is because we won't allow God to show his deliverance power in our lives. You can be free. You can be whole. You can be delivered. Get the help that you need. Don't keep hiding behind the pulpit. Don't keep hiding behind the word of God. Why? Because anything that's done in the dark, it comes to the light, and you can't really help anyone else be free if you're not totally free. So on today, I decree and I declare freedom for each and every person under the sound of my voice. I decree and I declare that you be transparent with yourself. I decree and I declare that you dig up all of those issues and the root seeds that have been sown into your life, that you dig them up and you allow somebody, whether it's a counselor, whether it's another leader that is free from it, whether you want to speak to me, I decree and declare that you open up and stop hiding that sin that you're in. So if it's adultery, if it's fornication, if it's molestation, whatever it is, if it's lying, I promise you, you can be free from that. You're looking at somebody that is free from so many things, because I wanted to be free. I had to be transparent with myself, and I had to be real with the people around me so I can be delivered and free. You can be free as well.
Glory be to God. My God, today, listen, people of God, I hope you've received those words of encouragement, those words of instructions, those words of prayer on tonight. Listen, you can be free in Christ Jesus. Listen, God don't have do nothing. He don't have deliver. And when he deliver, you look like you ain't never done it. Yes, God, when he deliver, there's no residue. My God, when God deliver, you're going to have to tell somebody that they used to be you. My God, today, listen, Pastor Michelle Henderson, listen, I love you so much. You have thoroughly blessed me. And again, I want to thank you for your transparency. Listen, y'all, like Pastor Michelle just said, the rest of her story is in her book. Listen, it is in her book. Make sure y'all go purchase her book if you want to hear the whole story. Listen, we just put it up on the screen. Listen, her website is right there. Go to that website. Pre-order her book. It's $25. Listen, Finding Your Beauty in the Mud, where you can hear the whole story and get it all. You hear me? Make sure you support this woman of God. So, Pastor Henderson, go ahead and tell the people in these last 2 minutes how they can connect with you, how they can follow you. Let them know what you got coming up. Go ahead and just share with the people.
Okay, so you can follow us on our Know Your Worth Facebook page. Also, you can follow us on Instagram, KYW Discover. You can also reach us on our website, www.kywdiscover.com. We have our book signing coming up August the 1st. I'll have our book signing. Details will be out. Like Dr. Carla said, the book, this is my first book I've written. I'm excited. It's going to be a series, so there'll be a to be continued after each one. So you'll get more and more transparency and real life, my real life story and issue. Also, we do a Know Your Worth conference every year in November here in Cincinnati, the second weekend of November, the 12th through the 14th. Last year it was called Resurrecting the Little Girl Within. So we resurrected that little girl that's been living there. And so this year, the team and I, we are planning for our next conference. And so we invite you in just to be a part of anything that Know Your Worth do. Also, I am the pastor of Agape Love Ministries. We have an Agape Love Ministries Facebook page. My husband and I minister, even the ministers at our church. We have a website there, www.agapelovemin.org. So you can reach us at any of those platforms.
Wow, amazing. So y'all hear that? Those of you that are in the Cincinnati, Ohio area and you need a church home, listen, go on over there and connect with your tribe. Come on, somebody, connect with your family. Yes, and as you can already see and hear, you're going to find love there. You're going to find some real love there. So again, bless you, woman of God. I want to thank you again for coming on. And if I ask you to come back, will you come back?
Absolutely.
And listen, for all of you all that are in the Atlanta area, listen, when we do my conference, the Recovery Room 9/11, Pastor Michelle says she is planning to come. So y'all be able to meet her in person at the Recovery Room conference. Again, make sure y'all go to my website and start registering now for the Recovery Room conference. Listen, you don't want to miss it. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So again, we are, oh my God, we have been blessed on tonight. Listen. Y'all put some hearts, stars, something. I'm telling you. And listen, if Deeper has blessed you all and you so desire to sow a seed, make sure you go ahead and sow a seed. My cash app is Carla Chaney-Rhodes. If you just want to sow a seed, even if you want to sow a seed to bless the woman of God on tonight, make sure if you sow the seed, just put in the little comment areas if it's for the woman of God, and I'll make sure I get it to her. But if you just want to be a blessed tonight, make sure you do that. Please go get her book. Please. Finding Your Beauty in the Mud. I'm so excited. Listen, it's absolutely amazing. So we getting ready to wrap it up and close out. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Listen, next Saturday, y'all don't want to miss next Saturday. We're going to have Anala Dior's. We're going to be talking about divine justice next Saturday. This woman of God was sentenced to 50 years in prison. Y'all don't want to miss Deeper next week. All right. So again, thank you for tuning in to Dr. Carla TV. God bless you.